All right, so we're going to start seated on your mat, and we're going to start cross-legged, and we're going to reach those arms up to the sky and fold forward. Just start to warm up the upper body. Slide the hands back, reach forward, and then fold again. We'll do this a few times. Just start to wake up the body. And big arm circles. And then we're going to add these big arm circles into that fold. So after this, you're going to bring those arms forward and fold and then back out. So just make our circles include the upper body and spine. Warm up the low back. You could always do this standing as well if it's tough to sit in this position. Good, and some few shoulder rolls back. Hands on the knees. We're going to stretch the neck one side. Make sure you're really pulling that shoulder down on the side that we're stretching. Go ahead and roll it around and we'll stretch the other side. And again, make sure this shoulder stays down in its place. And then just some back to the back, just the back half of this neck stretch, really opening up the front of the neck and getting some mobility. And then we'll do the front portion, so just ear to shoulder a few times here. Great. And we'll go into a shoulder stretch. Keep that arm nice and straight and pull the inner elbow towards your chest or your opposite shoulder. Really feel that stretch on the outside of the shoulder where it connects into your upper back. Then we're going to sweep the arms up overhead and get a tricep stretch. So your middle finger goes right down the spine, and then we're going to give it a little help to get further. And then we're going to open up to one side, really stretching the lat. So this will stretch all underneath the arm, down the side of the rib cage, and switch, middle finger down, and open up that side of the lats. And a few more shoulder rolls, backwards and forwards. And then we'll go ahead and lay face up on your mat. And we'll go ahead and place your hands underneath your tailbone if you like. That will help kind of cushion the low back, and pull the both knees in. And we're going to lift the head, neck, and shoulders and start with some straight leg lifts on the right leg. So just lifting and lowering, using your core. Keep the belly tucked into the spine and spine into the floor. Again, you can rest the head, neck, and shoulders down if you need. We're going to get 15 per leg on these. Especially as that leg lowers, try to keep solid in the core. Once you've gotten about 15, we're going to bring that leg up, and then we're going to bring it out at a diagonal. So opening and closing. Think about the inner thigh squeezing in as you come. This is one that's tougher than it looks too, to really keep the hips stable and try to keep them from rolling onto your side. And we'll get 10 on this. Again, 10 to 15 on everything today. Go ahead and lower that foot down. And then we're going to lift the left and start with just the straight leg lifts. Try to get a big range of motion as you can, almost touching that foot to the floor before you bring it right back up. Again, if you can keep the head, neck, and shoulders lifted, do so. If your neck gets tired, you can always rest it back down. 15 on this one. And then we're going to bring it in and out out to the side and in, and this gives you another angle to see. We're bringing it a diagonal out to the side there and back in. If you feel any clicking in your hip flexors, anything like that, just make this a little bit smaller movement. Maybe don't go down as low, but again, try to get 10 to 15 range on this one. Just a couple more. And then go ahead and flatten out those feet. And then we're going to place the soles of your feet together and open the knees. So it should feel like a little inner thigh stretch. And we're going to do a butterfly crunch here. So if you can bring the head, neck, and shoulders off of the mat with your arms overhead, that's great. That's ideal. If you need, you could also place the hands behind your head or up in the air in front of you if that was too much on your shoulders to bring them up behind the head. And here again, we're going to get 15 of these butterfly crunches, really pausing at the top and really trying to get a deep contraction in the abdominals. Exhale at the top each time. Let all that air out. Keep curling up as much as you can. And then go ahead and hold here. We're going to bring the knees back together, and then we're going to go right into a crisscross, also known as a bicycle crunch, but we're really going to extend that bottom leg out and try to touch the opposite elbow and knee each time. So that's a big rotation. This is a lot of core. Really turn the chest each time. So I'm trying to face the camera, face the other wall each time. We're getting about 10 per side on these. So you can either count to 20 or count 10 per side. And you should start to really feel the core warm up by now. And last one here. Go ahead and bring those knees in. Give it a quick stretch. And we're going to bring those legs out and in, touching the elbows to the knees. So notice this is a little different. I'm going to bring the head up between the arms and look at the legs as they press away. And again, you could take the upper body out of it and just leave the head down if you like, or you can try a little bit harder version by bringing the legs straight and not bending them into a full V up here. So again, if you need to take that low back pressure off, go to one of these versions. You can either do a single leg alternating or two legs or bent knees. So a lot of options. As long as you're really working that core, do what feels best. Go ahead and give it a quick stretch. Go ahead and bring the knees in. Next, we're going to roll onto your side. We're going to start with that top leg. Big arcing over that leg. So we're making a big rainbow behind and in front. Notice I'll get a little bit of a sway in the body just to get a little bit more range of motion out of it. That is totally fine as long as it's controlled. So kind of lean back as that leg presses forward, and then lean forward as the leg goes back. And we're getting about 10 total of these. And then we're going straight into a straight leg raise, just about halfway down. So we're going to work the top range of motion here and make sure that we're really using the back glute. So keep that leg back behind your bottom foot just a little bit. And really focus on that squeeze in the glute to lift that leg up. And again, we're going to get 10 of these. Take your time. Try not to use momentum. You'll notice I'll pause at the top each time. And then go ahead and rest this one down for a second. We're going to bring that knee up towards your elbow. And then we're going to kick it out straight. So it's a bend and a press away. So I like to think of this like a laying down squat. You're going to press away, but keep that toe pointed as you can. If you want to add the upper body and really squeeze that oblique, bring the elbow to the knee and then extend it back out. Now, to never drop that leg, you'll start to really feel those hip muscles work. So this is definitely harder than it looks. Again, getting about 10 per side. And then we're going to go straight into circles. And if you need to place that arm down, you can. It's more about keeping as stable as you can. We're just going to get 5 one direction and 5 going forwards. And go ahead and rest that down. And let's switch sides. And we're going to go straight to these rainbows. Big range of motion over and just barely tap like you're on the glass floor. Barely tap each side. Big range of motion. Get as high as you can and as far back and forward as you can. Last couple here. And we're going to bring that leg straight up into the air and we're going to go about down halfway and back up to the top. So top half of this straight leg extension, and really make sure you're using the glute. So keep that top leg slightly behind the bottom leg and really focus on lifting through the glute. And again, we're going to get 10 to 15 repetitions on this side. And here's your last one. Go ahead and lower that leg down. Then we're going to bring that knee up towards the elbow. And we're going to kick that leg straight out. So a knee in and knee out. And really take your time. Try to control using the muscles of your hips. If that feels pretty good, go ahead and put a hand behind the head and bring that elbow toward the knee, really crunching the obliques. And kick that leg out straight. Try to keep it elevated, pretty wide feet at the bottom of this movement. And we're going to go straight into circles. So if you can keep the hand behind the head or you can lower it down to the floor. We've got 5 one direction and 5 in the opposite direction. Keeping it at about a 45-degree angle. Perfect. And we're going to switch sides. So go ahead and take a moment here and flip over to our other side. And we're starting with these half circles here, up and over, big rainbow across that leg. Keeping a controlled core. Use the muscles in those hips, working on range of motion here and control in the hips. We have about 10 of these. Going both directions, and then we're going straight into these straight leg raises, halfway down and all the way back up to the top, getting as high as you can. Last couple of these here. Go ahead and rest that leg down. And we're going to go knee to elbow and kick that leg straight out for a straight leg extension. And bend that in. Perfect. And again, if that feels good, go ahead and put the hand behind the head and draw the elbow to the knee each time. Crunching in, extending out long. Keep aiming for that range of 10 to 15 repetitions on both sides. And we're going straight into circles, 5 backwards and 5 forwards, keeping that core nice and tight. Last few, I know it's getting tired. And relax, perfect. So now we're going to flip onto your stomach. And you can start with a little stretch here in a Cobra pose. And again, you can keep this on the elbows, or if you're comfortable with it, you can bring the elbows off and lift a little higher. We're going to sit back to child's pose. We did a lot of hip work. Give them a little stretch. If that extension in the shoulders is too much, you can take this position with bent elbows. But if you can, keep those lats stretched. Go ahead and shift back forward into this Cobra position. We're going to lift the legs as high as you can and bring those arms back straight. So we're creating a reverse boat position. And bring those arms out to the side, and we're going to really squeeze the shoulder blade, airplane arms. So tap the arms down, but really keep the arms as straight as you can, working the shoulder blades. They're pinching back and relaxing down. And again, we're doing 10 to 15 repetitions here. And then we're going straight to circles. We're going to go forward circles for 10. And then backward circles for 10. These are definitely tough. Last one here. Go ahead and rest those arms down and rest the legs down for a moment. Lift those legs as high as you can. We're going to do circles with the lower body. Little circles inwards. And then again, 5 to 10 going the opposite way. Really keep the head, neck, and shoulders lifted. If you need to, you can keep your head down on your palms like this. Great. Give it a quick stretch. We're going to bring your head up towards your toes as much as you can. Really bend those knees. Bring your heels towards your butt. If that's too much on your back, just do the legs without the upper body. Perfect. Go ahead and lower down. And we're going right back to our upper back work. So we're going to extend the arms out straight overhead, pull down, set them down on the floor, lift back up, and reach. So big squeeze in the shoulder blade, extend up, and our goal is to try to keep the arms at the same level, especially as you're reaching overhead. Think about pulling down towards you. So if you're doing a pull-up, you're pulling down, relax the arms down, and then retract the shoulder blades again. Takes a lot of upper body strength, so this is a great one to do just using gravity as resistance. Again, we're going to shoot for 10 to 15 of these. Take your time. Give it a quick rest. And then we're going to go back and stretch in our Cobra pose. Again, you can do this on the elbows or lifted up on the palms. Go ahead and bring the knees underneath your hips. So we're going to find our tabletop position. And we'll do a few cat-cow here. Rounding the spine and arching the back, looking up, lifting the head. Rounding, tucking the chin in, and then arching as we drop the shoulders. Do a few of these, just getting the spine opened up, and then go ahead and find your neutral back position and extend your right leg out. We're going to bring it all the way to one side and the other side. Thought you were done with rainbows today, but not quite. This is our last glute work. A lot of hip and glute work today. Keep that core nice and tight. Not moving too much through the spine. We've got 10 taps on each side, or 20 total. Last one. Go ahead and bring that knee in. And then we're going to keep that leg bent as we do a kickback. Big squeeze in the glute. Again, try not to use your spine here to compensate, but really squeeze between the glute and the hamstring as we lift that heel up, like you're kicking a hole through the ceiling. And this one we've got 10 to 15 as well. I think I got 15 on this one. Last one, perfect. Now we're going to extend that back leg out on the other side and start with those big range of motion rainbows. Big squeeze on either side. Last one here. Go ahead and bring that knee in. And then straight into our donkey kicks. Big squeeze in that glute and hamstring each time. And we've got 15 of these. This can really help with any low back pain you have too. Go ahead and give it a stretch. Sit back in child's pose. Take a few deep breaths here. And then we're going to flip back onto your back for a little more core to finish us off. We've only got a couple minutes left. Hang in there with me. Pull the knees to the chest, reset the back for a second. Then we're going to lift the legs straight up into the air. We're going to start with some toe touches. So we're going to flex the feet, bringing the toes towards your shins, and then exhale, little lifts again, bringing the head, neck, and shoulders up, keeping the chin tucked. Really working the low abs. Make sure you exhale at the top of these each time. Ten to 15. If you can get to 15, great. Wonderful. Go ahead and bend those knees in. And flat on the floor, we're going to do side to side ankle taps. We're trying to get at least 10 per side or 20 taps total. Really keeping the shoulder blades lifted as much as you can the entire time, plus that side to side movement working the obliques. Great. Go ahead and give it a stretch. Then we're going to bring the legs up. So you can place your hands underneath the tailbone here, or you can place them flat on the floor next to you. We're going to do some reverse crunches. Again, keeping your low back flat against the floor the whole time. So here's your option with the hands underneath. Think about lifting the tailbone off each time and controlling the legs back down. We've got 15 of these. Stay with me. And again, I prefer to keep the head, neck, and shoulders up to keep the abs engaged, but you can relax your neck down, especially if they get tired. And let's go straight into scissor kicks. There's no rest. This is our last little burnout. Up and down, staying at a 45-degree angle. Make them as big as you can comfortably. And last, we're going to go to our in and out scissor kicks. So go ahead and lift those legs to where you're comfortable, where you can still feel the core engaged, but it's a little bit tough. If you feel this in your low back, bring the legs higher. We're going in and out, 10 to 15. Perfect. Go ahead and give those knees a hug. We're almost done. Single leg switches. We're going to grab the back of one leg and extend the other out. So our last Pilates movement, really give that leg a tug at the top each time. Pause and pull. So really pull that leg in as we switch, keeping your core nice and tight. We're shooting for 8 to 10 on each side with this one. Last one. Go ahead and bring those knees to the chest. And give it a big stretch. You guys did so great today. Thank you again for joining me, and I hope you're all staying safe and healthy. See you next time.